Hello all, welcome to the next session on storage area network. So in this video session, let us discuss the last part of this module 4, where we are going to discuss about the virtualization appliances. So as we had discussed in the earlier chapters, we discussed cloud enabling technologies, we discussed the characteristics of cloud computing, the benefits of cloud computing, the cloud service models, the cloud deployment models, cloud computing infrastructure, the cloud challenges, and the last topic we had discussed in the previous session was the cloud adoption considerations. So in this session, let us try to understand what do you mean by the virtualization appliances, and also let us try to know a bit about storage automation and virtualization. So what is a black box virtualization? Let us just try to understand what do you mean by black box virtualization. A virtualization appliance is an intelligent processing platform that attaches to the storage or a storage network. It's basically an intelligent processing platform. We call it as a virtualization appliance. It's a device which is acting as an intelligent processing platform that attaches to the storage or a storage network. A virtualization appliance may be implemented on optimized hardware or has software that runs on a standard Intel processor. Virtualization appliances can accommodate a wide variety of heterogeneous operating systems, the host platforms, and the storage targets from the different vendors. Appliances may support fiber channel, iSCSI, or proprietary protocols for host access and fiber channel, iSCSI, SCSI, SATA, or SAS for storage. So a virtualization appliance, it's just a intelligent processing platform that attaches to the storage or a storage network. Now let us try to understand what we mean by in-band virtualization appliances. In-band virtualization appliances combine the control information and the data transport over the same network. So there is no separate path for control information and the data transport. So both the control information and the data, they share the same path. The in-band virtualization device resides directly between the servers and the storage. An in-band virtualization appliance, as it is shown in this diagram, so an in-band virtualization appliance using fiber channel may require two separate fabrics for server and storage connectivity. An in-band appliance is a target to the client servers and an initiator to the backend storage devices. So this in-band appliance is the target to the servers. For the servers, this in-band appliance will be the target, whereas for these physical storage devices, this in-band appliance acts like an initiator. Potential performance bottlenecks for in-band virtualization may be overcome with processing speed and cache memory. The in-band virtualization appliance itself becomes a bottleneck for storage transactions, particularly as the traffic load from multiple servers increases. So the load from the servers increases, the appliance itself may act as a bottleneck for the storage transactions. So one significant advantage of in-band storage virtualization is its ability to enforce physical separation between the servers and the storage. There is a significant advantage of this in-band virtualization, where it offers the ability to enforce physical separation between the servers and the storage. Because the appliance is the intermediate between the initiator and the target, it prevents the servers from independently and inadvertently discovering and attaching to the storage area network based storage assets, as might occur in a conventional SAN. So any server that wants to connect to the storage, it has to connect itself to the in-band appliance. Only then it can store or retrieve the data from the physical storage. So that is our in-band virtualization appliance. Okay. So in this diagram, an in-band virtualization may be implemented for Ethernet attached servers with the storage pooling of a mixed SCSI, fiber channel, SATA, SAS, or other storage devices. So one in-band appliance can serve, or it can be used to store and retrieve data from different types of storage devices. Now let us look at the next type of virtualization appliance, that is called as out-of-band virtualization appliances. Out-of-band virtualization separates control information paths from the data paths. An out-of-band band appliance attaches to a storage network as a peer node. Unlike our in-band virtualization where the control information and the data path is common, here out-of-band virtualization, it separates the control information path from the data path. So an out-of-band appliance attaches to a storage network as a peer node. In an out-of-band virtualization solution, servers access the data directly through the storage area network. So in an out-of-band virtualization solution, servers access data directly through the storage area networks. Out-of-band virtualization may require host resident software or hardware to maintain virtualization block address mapping. So this out-of-band virtualization appliance may require host resident software or hardware to maintain the mapping of block address during virtualization. Out-of-band virtualization typically requires no change to the storage area network in infrastructure design. Okay, you can just add out-of-band appliance to the existing storage area network. We need not again perform much changes to the existing storage area network infrastructure. That is the out-of-band virtualization. So what is the difference between in-band and out-of-band virtualization? So in in-band virtualization, the control information path and the data path is the same, it's common. Whereas in case of out-of-band virtualization appliances, it separates the control information path from the data path. So now let us proceed to the next topic as to how can we achieve high availability in virtualization appliances. A single virtualization appliance represents a potential single point of failure. So high availability for virtualization appliances requires dual pathing through the storage area network and redundant appliances for failover. We cannot directly depend on a single device because that may act as a single point of failures. So for that, what we can do is we can have redundancy in all the types of devices in our given network. So in an active-active configuration, redundant appliances may perform load balancing as well as failover capability. So redundant appliances exchange the status through an Ethernet or fiber channel heartbeat protocol. As we can see in this diagram, we have redundancy at almost each and every device here. So we have redundant switches here, we have redundant in-band appliances, again redundant switches at the for connecting to the storage. Again there are multiple paths, so if one of the path fails, the storage transactions can be performed or completed to the other path. And also if all the paths are active at the time, we call it as active-active configuration, where the load will be shared between the different redundant devices. So this diagram shows how in-band appliance provides high availability by having redundant fabric switches, appliances and multiple paths. So this is the same here, but it's a case of out-of-band virtualization. Again we have multiple fabric switches as well as redundant paths that are connecting to redundant out-of-band appliances. So that is how we can ensure high availability, that is by having redundant components, redundant switches, redundant appliances, virtualization appliances and redundant paths. Now let us see what do you mean by appliances for mass communication. The combination of iSCSI and the virtualization technology is enabling low cost but sophisticated shared storage solution. So the combination of iSCSI and the virtualization technology, so it enables us to have a low cost and sophisticated shared storage solution. We will not procure very high-end storage devices. We can use our normal hard disks and implement iSCSI in order to combine it with the virtualization technology. Economical iSCSI virtualization appliances may repurpose legacy direct data storage to provide virtualized shared storage. So low cost iSCSI virtualization appliances provide a migration path from small to large shared storage networking. So the diagram here, it shows the low cost storage virtualization that is available through the appliances that provide iSCSI host access and basic storage pooling capability. Right, so that is our That is how we can use appliances for mass consumption. That is by combining the benefits of iSCSI along with the virtualization appliance. Now let us see what do we mean by policy-based storage management. Policy-based management encompasses all the IT resources including applications, computer platforms, networks and storage. Policy management is required for aligning the underlying technology to the business requirements. The Storage Networking Industries Association or SNIA Storage Management Interface Specification, or as we can call it SMIS, establishes a common management structure for heterogeneous storage area networks. The Common Infrastructure Model or CIM defines the management objects for a wide diversity of network and compute resources. The CIM or the Common Information Model objects are managed through the web-based enterprise management protocol. The Common Information Model schema includes the policy classes for automating the IT processes. The CIM provides storage configuration service model for creating and manipulating virtualized resources. The Common Information Model storage services and the policy objects may be combined to provide automated storage virtualization. Policy management is based on a variety or a hierarchy of policies that span from upper layer interfaces to the underlying physical resources. Policy-based management transforms the physical SAN into a collection of services supporting business application requirements. So in policy-based management, it encompasses management of all the IT resources including the applications, the computing platforms, the networks and the storage. It is necessary for aligning the underlying technology to the business requirements. As per the business policy, as per the organization policy and the business requirements, we can set up the infrastructure storage infrastructure management policies, or we can implement automation of storage infrastructure management. So the Common Information Model defines the management objects for a wide diversity of network and compute resources, and for managing the objects in Common Information Model, the protocol uses web-based enterprise management protocol. So the Common Information Model schema includes the policy classes for automating the IT processes. So this Common Information Model provides the storage configuration service model for creating and manipulating virtualized resources. The Common Information Model storage services and the policy objects may be combined to provide automated storage virtualization, as it is shown in this particular diagram. So policy-based management is predicated on the hierarchy of policy objects that govern the different aspects of virtualized infrastructure. Services under policy enforcement must be coordinated to accomplish the overall policy goal. So we have the application, we have the clients, we have the storage pool, the tape pool. Here for a given policy organization, we are going to define a particular class of service, class of storage, class of delivery, data lifecycle monitoring and data migration, and all these processes will be automated. And here we have homogeneous management of a heterogeneous storage area network via a Common Information Model is provided by vendor supplied Common Information Model providers in SAN environments. So there may be different types of devices, or different storage area networks can be combined having different types of storage devices and the servers, and it can be managed through this policy-based management using the Common Information Model. Abstracting vendor proprietary capabilities into uniform vendor neutral features enables the fabric and storage assets to be treated as a single entity whose behavior is determined by the high-level business requirements. So what we can do is we can combine the different heterogeneous or the homogeneous SANs together and implement a Common Information Model there, thereby automating most of the IT processes. As we can see, we have a Common Information Model, a web-based enterprise management client, policy-based management framework. Here we have the fabrics, we have fabric manipulation activities such as zoning, pathing, security and so on, and we have virtualized storage services as well, which include the mirroring, replications, snapshots, backup and lifecycle management. Okay, that is about policy-based storage management. Now let us try to understand what do you mean by application aware storage virtualization. Policy-based management provides a foundation for tighter integration of applications and storage virtualization. An application-aware virtualization entity must identify specific application data types and launch the appropriate policies for handling the data. Application-aware virtualization must respond to the changing application needs such as the capacity requirement and the lifecycle management. Wireframe speed analysis is required to maintain the performance level. So in application-aware storage virtualization, depending upon the type of application that is being used, appropriate virtualization policy will be applied, or appropriate type of virtualization will be performed for a given type of application. As we can see, we need to first identify the application data type. So if it's online transaction processing application, we implement policy A for storage virtualization. If it's for exchange application, we implement some other policy B. If it is a database application, we implement policy C. If it's a video application, policy D. If it is an unknown application, if the type of application is not known, then we implement the default policy for virtualization. Something like this. For every policy there may be fabric pathing policies, the classes of storage policy, the capacity policy, the data protection policies, and the lifecycle management policies. So depending upon the type of application that is being used, so based on that, a particular policy for virtualization will be applied. Hence the name application aware storage virtualization. So application aware storage virtualization requires identification of the upper layer application based on the data characteristics and enforcement of a policy hierarchy to apply the appropriate storage services over time. Depending upon the type of applications that are running, a particular policy will be implemented and a particular type of storage virtualization will be performed. Hence the name application aware storage virtualization. Well, let's move on to the last topic of our module 4, that is virtualization aware applications. So in virtualization aware application application programming interfaces or the APIs with an operating system enable upper layer applications to communicate requirements to storage virtualization entities in a storage area networks. So here in virtualization aware applications, upper layer applications communicate the requirements to storage virtualization entities in a storage area network. Virtualization awareness facilitates the integration of applications and the infrastructure by enabling the application to define its own storage requirements. So virtualization awareness facilitates the integration of applications and the infrastructure by enabling the application to define its own storage requirements. Virtualization aware applications expand the scope of the storage intelligence beyond the storage area networks. A virtualization aware application may communicate its requirements to the operating system virtualization APIs, which in turn notifies the SAN-based virtualization engine. This configuration puts the application in control of its supporting storage infrastructure. Here the applications themselves communicate with the virtualization entities at the storage level. Okay, so this is virtualization aware applications. We have a bunch of upper layer applications, and every application may have performance requirements, class of storage requirements, capacity requirements, the data protection requirements, and the data lifecycle requirements, which in turn communicate. Every upper layer application communicate with the operating system, which in turn runs the virtualization APIs. The operating system then interacts with the storage area network, which consists of the virtualization engine and the physical resources. The applications communicate with the virtualization engines through the operating systems. That is what we call as the virtualization aware applications. So in this session we discussed what do we mean by virtualization appliance. We discussed what is in-band virtualization. We discussed what is out-of-band virtualization. We understood the differences between in-band virtualization and out-of-band virtualization. And after that we discussed what do you mean by appliances for mass communication. And then we discussed policy-based storage management, application-aware storage virtualization, and virtualization-aware applications. So with this, let us conclude this session. So we have reached the end of module 4. So let us try to conclude this session here. Thank you.